Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. It is Wednesday, January 4th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith back later this week, likely tomorrow, definitely Friday. But in his place, we have ourselves another special guest joining us on the show today, and joining us for the first time, Matt Robinson, many years playing pro hockey. Matt, welcome to the Ice Guys. Great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into the NHL-related discussion, we'll recap last night, and then we'll look ahead to the 3 games tonight on the Wednesday slate from a betting perspective. We always like to ask our guest when they're on the show for the first time, the hockey journey. How did it begin? Where you went? How many years you played? Where you played? Fill us in, the Matt Robinson hockey life.
I was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and so obviously out there is just not much, just with the snow and ice, and that's where I kind of learned how to play. And then we moved out to BC when I was still really young, and from there, my dad started an organization like a summer league called the Vancouver Vipers. So from there, we were the first team with 85. So that was like myself, Brent Seabrook, Colin Fraser, Andrew Ladd, all these guys, Troy Brower, as well as others that have gone on to play pro or mainly play in the NHL. So
Alex is a Blackhawks fan. He'll appreciate you throwing out all those names. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that was the crazy thing, is just having them all be on one team and watching them win the Stanley Cup was a really cool thing. And I actually just ran into Colin Fraser just a couple weeks ago. It was at the BCHL showcase, and he's just scouting now for the Blackhawks, but it was good to catch up with him. But so and then after that, and everybody kind of went on, and I played some BCHL with Surrey Eagles and everything, and originally was planning to kind of go the NCAA route, and went on a couple fly downs to like Minnesota State and St. Cloud, but then I just kept always getting picked up by WHL teams, and then finally it was the lockout year I got picked up by Vancouver. And I ended up just going to play in Vancouver that year, with the first year with Don Hay. And that was a real cool experience, just growing up here and, watching guys like, Bure and everybody. And you had watching him in the Pacific Coliseum, and then getting to actually play in the Coliseum was really cool. So then I finished my career in the WHL with the Regina Pats and had a really good year. And then from there, just kind of after that, went on the pro, went to Tampa Bay's camp, but then played a couple of years in Alaska in the ECHL, and a little bit in Johnstown, where the Chiefs, and then it was the Stockton Thunder, and then after that, I just kind of finished my career in Wichita in the Central.
Yeah, and we were talking just before the show. The last year you played pro, the last season was 2013, 2014. It just so happened that is also the final season that the CHL dissolved and ended up being basically taken over by the ECHL after that. And it was just coincidental that was just the time when you were ready to hang up the skates and move on into your life post hockey, right?
It was, yeah. It was just, I think, all the bus rides and, the body just getting banged up over the years, and surgeries and other things. It was just, I think it was just time to get, move on. And I know I just felt like, I still always had the competitiveness, but it just wasn't, kind of what it used to be. And, just kind of, wanted to kind of move on from there. But no, I still play. I go up to Canada every Monday and play with all these guys that either, same 20 guys every Monday. And it's all guys that either played like junior, college, or pro. So it's actually a really good skate.
Yeah, no doubt. That's great. You want to stay playing the game even after the pro days, for sure. Just from recreational and having fun with the boys, that kind of thing. Throw some pops back as well after the game. So I'm sure that happens, exactly. And now you don't have to worry about controlling that weight nearly as much now, do you?
No, that's the thing. We sweat it off, but then we pretty much gain it back right after we're in the dressing room for the next couple hours. So yeah.
Yeah, you're talking to someone that pounds back at least 2 beers a day, and pretty much every single day. So, and by the way,
Oh,
we're
nice.
both 1985 guys, Matt
Oh,
and I.
perfect.
We're basically 40s knocking. We're knocking on the door of 40 for
We're
better or
getting
worse.
there. Yeah.
Whether we're ready for it, whether we're excited about it or not, it's coming. We can't do anything about it.
My wife reminds me on a daily basis.
We did find, and I said this before the show to Matt, it was not easy to find anything in terms of the Matt Robinson highlight reel, the Hall of Fame, the whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Kind of clip we could show, and we usually do this with our player guests, but we did find something, a goal from his, I believe, Central Hockey League days with the Wichita Thunder that Matt
Boy.
puts in. It's a very brief clip, so eyes wide open, everybody, in our YouTube chat. Blink and you'll miss it. So make sure you're
Exactly.
paying attention right now. Here we go.
Power play to finish out the game. There's a loose puck.
Oh God. Yeah.
There you go. Just
That's
right
a
off
quick
the
one.
face-off, a scramble. It was
Yeah.
so quick.
So
We'll
with a
play it
power
again. Look at that.
play to finish out
Yeah,
the game.
that
There's a
was-
loose puck.
That was
Nice
in
little pass,
Tulsa.
too.
That was with like seconds left in the third period to tie the game, and it went into overtime. But oh yeah, that's there's definitely a bunch online, but it's just it's like you said, we were talking before, the quality back then and everything is just it's like watching something from the 90s compared to now. That's for sure.
Oh, it's rinky fucking dink production values. That's for sure. I mean, you see it on the
Yeah.
screen there. They got the sponsor, bail bonds, penalty. Come on, get that shit off the screen, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
try to
that's-
be professional for crying out loud with your
That's the central
broadcast.
for you.
Yeah. It's not easy for them to do that, though. Exactly. But there it is, right off the face-off. Nice little pass. I love that. Just ready, stick on the ice, ready to shoot that puck. Well done, my friend. Great goal.
Thank you.
There you go. So that was from the final season, I think, too, that you played with the Wichita in the 2013.
Yeah, I believe so. That
Yeah.
was the thing. It was my final season. Obviously, it wasn't the final season I was kind of hoping for because we didn't make playoffs, and I ended up still having a decent season. I think I scored over 30 goals there, but it was just more the 2 seasons before we made it to the finals back to back, but both lost in the finals, and especially the last year we lost in Game 7 in overtime, which that was the heartbreaker. But yeah.
So you are obviously BC boy. That's where you were born, but living in the state of Washington now in the
Yep.
United States. And we're going to get on our soapbox right now. Matt's interested in sports betting, NHL betting, football, that kind of thing. But he's living in a state that is apparently still living in the dinosaur age, the Stone Age, when it comes to sports betting. And I know it's been frustrating for you. You were talking about how, when you go traveling elsewhere, to other states and other places. And that's when you go hog wild, essentially, and you get more. And you got the mobile apps and you've got the online sites you're able to get involved with. And like you said, you were recently in Kansas and you had no problem betting there. But you live, obviously, year-round in Washington. And these guys are way behind the curve right now in terms of the sports betting legalization that has swept many different states. A lot of places in Canada now, province by province, including Ontario, where you just can't watch a sporting event anymore without a sports book ad every 30 seconds or every minute. So that's got to be frustrating. We got to get on our soapbox right here, you and I on this show, Matt, and say, hurry the fuck up, pitter patter, as they say on Letterkenny. Let's go here and let's get this shit done. Let's get the wheels in motion. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, they've been talking about bringing it in for I would say at least a couple of years now. And like I said, you can bet in the casinos and everything. But yeah, as for other stuff, like I said, for the mobile apps, for going on your computer, doing anything like that, you can't do anything. So that's why what you said before, when I was in Kansas, I was betting on the Thursday night football game. I was betting on college. I was betting on NHL, all kinds of stuff. And my wife was, thought I had a problem right off the bat, but no, it's just something to make it a little bit more entertaining. And yeah, definitely, like I said, a lot of states that still don't have it, because I believe Oregon and a couple other West Coast states here, some don't have it, but it's just they're definitely missing the train here with the just bringing in the revenue and everything else.
So let's hurry up, Washington. I mean, this is a great state, too, when it comes to sports. You've got, obviously, you've got Seattle sports there, Kraken, Seahawks. I think Mariners, they're going to get, I think, a basketball team there at some point as well. I mean, there's good college teams there, Huskies and Washington Huskies, Washington State Cougars. I mean, let's go already. I mean, this is so let's hopefully that gets that gets done at some point sooner rather than later. All right, let's talk before we get into last night. We'll recap last night, but you follow and watch NHL pretty closely in terms of what you've seen to this point, some teams that you want to talk about that have maybe surprised you in a positive manner or maybe surprised you in they've disappointed, they've underachieved. Any players you want to talk? Obviously, we've had a bunch of players having terrific seasons so far. McDavid's doing his thing again. He could hit 160 points. That's absolutely batshit crazy. That could happen. We've got breakout years from Jason Robertson for Dallas. Look at what Tage Thompson is doing right now for the Buffalo Sabres. A hat trick last night, 30 goals on the season. He could easily get to 50, and actually he could even get 60 at the pace he's on right now. Incredible stuff. Just some observations from you, Matt, on the NHL season to this point.
Yeah, like I was going to say, like you pretty much said, like Tage Thompson, he's been unbelievable, like just for the size he is and for what he's been doing out there has been, and from his turnaround from last year has been crazy. And same with Robertson, I find he's always been underrated because he even had a decent season last year and he's just kind of continuing on this year. And I think last time I saw there was kind of from what McDavid's done to what he's done from like game to game wise, they're pretty much almost even. And then just as for teams, I would say like surprisingly the Kraken have been playing, I don't think a lot of people thought they, just from how it was last year to kind of what they started with this year and how they are right now, where they're even, I think, still in a wild card spot where I think a lot of people and even like, Matty Beniers has been having a great year, as well as, what's his face? For Boston? No, we got him from Colorado. Trying to remember his name now. I'm blanking here. But he's been having a great year. But then I would say, trying to think, and then probably the team I'm most disappointed about is New York, thinking they were going to go into the season, just killing it. And a lot of like they have just not delivered, I found, pretty much the whole year so far. So, but no, it's been an entertaining year with, like you said, McDavid doing his thing. And then obviously right now too, with that time of year is the World Juniors, which has been unbelievable to watch, and Connor Bedard and everything. Like tonight is a big matchup with Canada versus US, and obviously I'm gonna cheer for Canada, but we're kind of a house divided here. So,
well, it is what it is. You're right. I mean, you got to support Canada. Obviously, you're from there, but you're right. A little bit of tension in the old Robinson household could be tonight with Canada versus USA, and that should be a great game in the semifinals of the World Junior Hockey Championship tonight. So, no question about that. It is going to be a lot of fun to watch. You look at, by the way, the Rocket Richard Trophy, the chase for the leading goal scorer, and you've got Connor plus 100 right now. Tage Thompson's up to plus 350. He's the second favorite to be the leading goal scorer in the NHL. Pasternak plus 650. Ovechkin 10-1 odds. Robertson 14-1. So those are the big five right now. I guess you could never count out Matthews totally, even though he's obviously not produced yet to the level that he did, nowhere close to last year, but he's also capable of scoring like 20 goals in like 8 games or 10 games sort of thing, and getting himself right back into it.
For sure, he can definitely catch fire where anything he puts in the net kind of goes in. So he, but yeah, compared to what he was doing last year, I think right now I'm not sure what he's exactly at for goals. I think he's maybe around like close to 20 or something like that, but he's definitely another guy that could catch fire. The other guy I was going to say too that's been surprising is Bo Horvat.
Yes.
He's been I think he's at 28 goals or something like now. He got 2 last night. And I don't know, because obviously there's been a lot of rumors with him possibly getting traded, or because that's Vancouver right now. Granted, they've been playing well the last couple games, but it seems like in the locker room or something's going on there. It's kind of a dumpster fire there right now.
Yeah, his career high in goals was last year, 31, and he's at 28 already. And we're only at 37 games played for Bo Horvat. That's an incredible clip. 28 goals in 37 games for him, and he's in the mix too. He's 16-1 to be Rocket. I think he's going to tail off a little bit at some point, just a little bit, but it's still been just remarkable. 28 goals in 37. It's amazing what playing for a new contract and some big money paydays after the season will do.
it's always that final year of your contract. These guys seem to have like amazing, quadrupling their point totals. Where I think yesterday I saw at this same time for his games played, he only had like 21 points, where now he's got like something like 42 or something like that. So yeah, you always see these guys on their final year of their contract just have unbelievable years. So need that payday.
Yeah, no question. All right, we'll rifle through the games last night. We saw the Florida Panthers beat the Arizona Coyotes 5-3. Yeah, I took a shot with Arizona at plus 280. I don't mind it that it fell short. It was worth it anyway. I just didn't think Florida was someone I had faith in at minus 350. And look, they were tied at 2 at one point with Arizona. It was not an easy game. For the Florida Panthers. I also like the over in that game. It flew over the total with 8 goals in that one. Florida gets the job done. Kachuk up to his old antics. He obviously Barkov, questionable hit by Gostisbehere. He gets right in there and basically goes after Gostisbehere, and there's a scrum ensues. He gets the 2-minute penalty. But I get what he's doing. He's protecting the captain. There's nothing wrong with that. I know people, chide him and and I got frustrated. I thought what he did was Bush League with the Toronto Calgary game years ago when he basically just knee drop like a wrestling move, a knee drop on the back of Jack Campbell's head, in that game, and the Leafs didn't like that very much. And he sometimes crosses the line from time to time, but I have like Kachuk gets ripped for every little thing he does on the ice. They say, oh, there's Kachuk doing his old shit, up to his old fucking tricks and antics. But nevertheless, I think what he was doing there, protecting the captain, as much as I've criticized him for other things, I'm not going to give him too much grief for that.
No, he is. He's very skilled, but he is like your new age pest, where just like Marchand and everything like that, where they have the skill and everything, but they, like you said, they do some greasy shit from time to time. But like you said too, they also more him than Marchand, but there are times where he kind of sticks up and does the right thing or whatever, but that's few and far between compared to some of the stuff he does.
Yeah, but I like that. I like he's got the all-around game, though. He's an agitator. He gets under your skin. He's physical. He'll drop the mitts every now and then. He's got a great finish around the net. Underrated shot, like goes to the front of the net. Even can pass the puck pretty good, and actually has some playmaking ability too. So he's got a really good all-around game. He's just got to rein it in and harness those emotions sometimes. Sometimes that intensity and too much of it, gets the better of him. But Florida gets the win there. Buffalo Sabres, you know what? Credit to Alex, because I was on the fence about betting Buffalo. He really liked Buffalo, and that talked me into betting Buffalo. And 5-4, they win in overtime against Washington. Tage Thompson with the hat trick, including the game-winning goal. If you look at that one-time blast he had on the power play, his first goal in that game was just off the stick in an instant and back of the net. It's like if you were to throw a 105-mile-per-hour fastball, that was basically the Tage Thompson shot and release on that first goal he scored last night. Like, it was back past the goaltender and in the net before you could blink. Like, this guy can absolutely shoot a puck.
He likes that exact same spot, kind of where Ovi likes to shoot, and on the power play, and it's the exact same thing. But like you said, he's got such a long stick and the whip on that thing, and so I think it was his last hat trick where he pretty much had the hat trick in the first period there. Like, all 3 goals were from that that exact same spot. So he's definitely got the shot, and like you said before, the goalie's even over there, it's already in the back of the net. So. No, he has been something to watch this year for sure.
Yeah, it was very impressive. And Buffalo resilient again, right? They lost the lead. They came back. They tied it in the third, and then they win it in overtime 5-4. Game goes, that was a great game for yours truly from a betting perspective. Buffalo plus 145 cashes the over, 6.5 also with 9 goals in that game. So that was a great result and a good win for the Sabres there against a Washington team that's obviously been playing well. And even though they lost, Ovechkin adds 2 more to the tally to close the gap on the great one, Wayne Gretzky, even more on that chase to become the all-time leading goal scorer in the NHL. And that's almost at the point now, Matt, where it's going to become fait accompli. It's just a question of when, not if, he's going to get there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think he'll for sure get it. It's just a matter of, like you said, if he does it in 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever it is. But just for in this day and age to get 800 and whatever he's at, 808 now, is absolutely insane. Where granted, like, Gretzky's still Gretzky and, or scoring back then, but you're looking at the goaltenders, they're challenging out to the frickin' ringette line or anything where they're, almost sliding past the blue line. Where, yeah, and just for what he's done is absolutely unbelievable.
No question about that. And like I say, he's going to get that record. Just a question of when it happens. Carolina had their big win streak snapped last night by the New York Rangers. A 5-3 victory for New York. I was on Carolina in that game. So there we go. Can't win them all. It was an overall very good betting night for me, but can't win them all. And that was one of the losses. They've been riding Carolina quite a bit, but they fell short 5-3. The referees did them no favors. I thought they got a bad whistle a couple of times in that game, but you can't bitch about it. I know there's people that are saying Carolina lost because of the refs. No, you got to give the Rangers some credit. They capitalized on their chances. It was not one of Kochekhov's better games, or their team defensive game wasn't as good. And their penalty kill, which is usually just phenomenal, gives up 2 power play goals. That doesn't happen very often to Carolina. They've consistently, under Rod Brind'Amour, been one of the best penalty killing teams in the NHL. And it wasn't nearly as good last night. You got to give the Rangers their due. They deserve a nice win there, 5-3. And yeah, again, I think the whistle was a little bit against Carolina at times, but nevertheless, Rangers deserve credit for a big 5-3 win there. And I also had Columbus, bad call there. I mean, 2 wins on the road. Probably should have had more lack of faith in them than I did, that they would struggle and not be able to get it done in Ottawa. But it was more just Ottawa minus 220 favorites. I took a shot fading that, but they get the shutout there, 4-0 in that game against Columbus and the Jackets. Again, that might be the last time I back them on the road anytime soon. And then St. Louis and Toronto. This is crazy game. This was 6-5 Blues. They end up winning in a shootout over the Leafs. And if the game flies over the total, which I was on in that game, the over 6, and I was also on Toronto team total over 3.5. And this is a great reminder, this game. Don't always knee-jerk to bet the team you like to win the game or score goals on the money line. There's other ways to bet that team. You can go team total instead, where Leafs lost the game, but you still win your bet because the team total goes over.
Over 3.
It's a beautiful thing, Matt. I mean, and that's great for the bigger favorites. And that's why I always say, if you like the bigger favorite, maybe look at the team total. Why would you want to lay minus 280 with Toronto when you can lay a minus 130 or so with their over 3.5 team total? And that way, if they lose, you're not down big laying the money line price, and you could take the team total instead. And you could find situations where the team loses the game and they still go over their team total. And that's exactly what happened with the Leafs last night. The element that I talked about on yesterday's show, Matt, analyzing this Leafs Blues game, it came to the forefront again. And I'm going to repeat it now today. It is really bizarre. This is some bizarre shit. This is really, really strange to see what's happening with Toronto. That with 3 starting defensemen out, Morgan Rielly, TJ Brody, Jake Muzzin, all out at once, the team for weeks, all of a sudden, even with 3 starting defensemen, you thought they were going to crumble defensively and just be giving up goals left and right, totally out of position, communication issues, turnovers in their own zone. And yet with those 3 guys out, they bared down defensively like I haven't seen in a long time with the Leafs, and they played as a 5-man structured team defensively. You had the blue line, blocking a ton of shots, good position. The forwards doing everything possible to back check and help out the blue line when they were very shorthanded and depleted on the blue line. Well, lo and behold, Brody's come back now for a few weeks. They just got Morgan Rielly back, a few games ago. The only one that's still out is Muzzin. They're back to almost full strength and health defensively, and they're back to playing pond hockey again.
Yeah.
And they're back to playing sloppy defense and just giving up too many quality chances, grade A chances, high danger chances, as they call them now. Giving up far too much good looks, puck watching, standing around watching the other team move the puck. And they're playing this, fire wagon hockey, and they're playing loose as a fucking goose defensively as they're getting healthier, as they're supposed to be getting stronger on the defensive blue line with everybody getting healthy again. Matt, it's crazy. I mean, this is the bizarre. This is like working in reverse of what it should be.
And that's the thing. Sometimes that happens because throughout my career, you have that where you get to that point in the season where you get a lot of injuries, and you have teams like that where are used to that run and gun style, but then you almost have to take a step back, be like, okay, we got this many injuries. We have to have our, certain players. We got to play more as a team here and more of a structured game instead of, playing this run and gun because you don't have the guys like this. So it's almost like when they were injured, Matthews, all these guys got on board to play more of a structured game. But now it's like you said, all these guys have come back. So they're like, okay, we can go back to our run and gun game and we should be okay. And it kind of goes to shit. So, so it's just been, like they've always been known to play that run and gun, we'll get as many goals as we can and hopefully they don't score as many as us kind of thing. And they've always, I find with the poor Maple Leafs, they have all the skill in the world, but they just, some can't find a way to shut the other team down as well, though.
Yeah, and we're seeing that right now. That it should be the other way around. Logically, you would think it would be that way. That they have all the defensemen out, then they were giving up 5-6 goals a night, and then now that they get everybody healthy, you think, okay, now they're back to more toward 2-3 goals a night and playing better defense. And it hasn't been that way for the Leafs. And sure enough, last night they're in that back and forth affair with the Blues. They lose 6-5, and keep in mind they gave up a 5-spot to Zona last week in the desert as well against the Coyotes. So this is something they got to nip in the bud. They got to fix this shit because this is the group they're going to have at playoff time on the blue line, and you've got to play better defensive hockey at playoff time than this, or else you're going to be facing yet another first round exit. And I know no Leaf fan wants the prospect of that. Other games last night, we saw Winnipeg 3-2 against Calgary. Great performance again from Connor Hellebuck. And Calgary is always in a close game, it seems. It's just a matter of are they going to end up on the winning side or the losing side of it. And last night it was the losing end of it against the Jets. There's been so many of these games where they're right there. They could have won the game, and they just don't have that one. They don't finish that one chance they could have, and the other team does. And that ends up being the difference in the end. It's been a weird season for Calgary, and it's been a great season for Winnipeg. They couldn't wait to get rid of Rick Bowness in Dallas. A lot of fans at least felt that way. And yet he's come in here to Winnipeg. He's ironed out the dressing room issues, which they had clearly down the stretch last year. It looks like a team playing with a lot more structure this year. No question about that defensively, and a better team for it.
Have they announced? I can't remember if they did or not. Do they have a captain, or they have no captain right now?
None this year. None.
Yeah, because I know they took
a leadership
away
group,
from Wheeler.
They call it. Yeah.
Yes. So that was kind of like the part of before the season started. That was kind of the drama. But no, the Jets have been playing very well this year. And like you said, Calgary kind of with the whole trades and everything happening in the off season, you kind of thought they won that trade. But then just this year, like you said, they've just been losing, either winning or losing by one goal. Huberdeau, I find that hasn't really done much this year for Calgary. Granted, you're going from Florida to a major Canadian market where you probably got a lot of pressure on you to perform. So, but I think in the end, I think he should work out there. But yeah, they're just having a tough time.
They are having a tough time, Calgary, and a lot of close loss. They haven't played terrible, to be honest. I think they played okay this year, but just those little bounces. One bounce it doesn't go your way, it does for the other team. They score and you don't. When you get your great chance. And that's been the difference in a lot of their games this year. Tampa beat Chicago 4-1. Not much to say, pretty much expected there. Nashville 6-3 over Montreal last night, and I was on the Preds team total over. So was Alex, and that's just something you got to keep betting at this point. That is not the Montreal Canadiens blue line right now. No way. That's the Laval Rocket blue line right now for the Montreal. That's an AHL caliber blue line. That is not an NHL caliber defense. Simple as that, period, for Montreal. I mean, they don't have Mike Matheson, who's one of their better veteran defensemen. He's actually a very good player. Caden Gooley is actually one of their better young defensemen. He was actually playing well. Of all the youngsters on their blue line, he was playing very well. I think Caden Gooley was playing the best of them all, and he's injured now, and they really missed those two guys. So it's Joel Edmondson and a bunch of young kids that are totally inexperienced, out of their element, aren't ready to play the minutes, and the power play, PK, 5-on-5, immense responsibility that they are right now. And it's been ugly for Marty St. Louis' team since the Christmas break. I mean, they get ripped by Florida for 7 goals. They give up the 9 spot against Washington on the weekend, and then 6 last night in a loss to Nashville. Incapable defensively right now.
No, yeah, it's just with even these kids coming from the AHL, it is amazing how just from the AHL to NHL is how much of a huge gap of just the talent-wise is. So you be killing it in the AHL, but yeah, as soon as you come to the NHL, it's just a whole nother ball game. But yeah, right now it's not a happy times in Montreal right now for how it's been going.
No, and look, the goaltending's been not the best either, but it's hard for Allen and Montembeault right now, the two goalies in Montreal, because I think more of it's on just this is just such an inexperienced blue line. They can't overcome it. Seattle Kraken 5-2. Revenge is a sweet thing. And look, Seattle was totally embarrassed by Edmonton at the Climate Pledge arena last Friday night it was. I mean, they were down, but basically you're just sitting down, turning the game on, getting your beer, getting ready to enjoy a good hockey game, and you turn it on. It's already 4-0 for
Yep.
Edmonton last Friday night in Seattle. Seattle definitely circled this, probably game last night to play Edmonton again within, 2 games within a week. You get that quick turnaround to maybe get some redemption, and they certainly did that. A 5-2 win last night against the Oilers. I was on Seattle. Getting a plus price there in that game. It's just, perfect situation. It's a quick turnaround spot. We know Seattle's been good on the road all season long for the most part, and they were ready for Edmonton last night. They actually fell behind 2-0, but once they got to 2-1, it's like, and it was starting to think, whoa, here we go again against Edmonton when they were down 2-0.
Yep.
But then they got that big goal to make it 2-1, and that really got things going for Seattle, and they really took over the game from that point on. They end up winning 5-2. And I'm sure, obviously, being where you are, Matt, Seattle Kraken, that's probably the local market, the local team for you would be
Yep.
Seattle. You get all their games. I think they've got one of the best broadcast teams for television in the league with Johnny Forsland and Eddie Olczyk. Doesn't get better. They're excellent, both of those
They're
guys
great. Yeah.
at their
Yeah.
job. John Forsland with, hey, what do you say? That's hockey,
Yeah.
baby. They're off
Yeah.
and running, and just got a great
Yeah.
voice, great set of pipes as well. And Edzo's probably one of, if not the best analyst in the NHL right now. So they got a great crew, great broadcast team, and great performance for the local team last night, Matt.
It was, yeah. So same thing. I thought, well, hopefully they, like you said, they circle the wagons, but with how it went last week, I was kind of hoping, and like you said, when it started out 2-0, I was like, well, here we go again. But then, yeah, Matty Beniers scored to make it 2-1 there, and then they were just kind of off to the races after that. But that's the thing I've noticed this year. They have been a very resilient team. Like just they don't really have a flat out superstar. Obviously, like you said, you can see Beniers kind of coming into his own a little bit more and more. But right now, it almost kind of reminds me of like how the Golden Knights were, where you didn't really have any of these top guys. A lot of these guys were second, third line guys on other teams, and now they're kind of finding their niche and playing as a team. So they've been actually fun to watch this year. I had season tickets to them last year, and just going to like the facility, Climate Pledge Arena is unbelievable. The atmosphere is great. A lot of people out here. It was funny. A lot of people out here thought hockey wasn't gonna last. Meanwhile, the season tickets sold out within like 15 minutes, and you have a ton of hockey markets around here with the WHL. So it's been good having the team here and everything. But no, it was a good win for them last night.
Yeah, it was, and much needed because look, they're in an absolute battle, and it's going to remain an
Mm-hmm.
absolute battle to get into the playoffs in the Western Conference. But at least they can think that this year. Last year it was just the season was just the typical. Obviously, Vegas had the season of a lifetime as the
Yeah.
first year franchise in the league, but that's the exception to the rule usually, not the norm. But Seattle had that typical dismal first season. You would expect them, and I knew they were going to be a little bit better this year. I didn't know if they were contending for the playoffs, ready to be better.
Yeah.
And there's still some question too, Matt. I don't know how you feel, but there's still some question about whether they can sustain hanging in the race until March, April, past the trade deadline. Are they going to fall off before then? There's still some question about that because I'm not enamored with what I'm seeing from the goaltending duo right now. Grubauer
Mhm.
has not once found his groove in Seattle. And it goes without
No.
saying, Martin Jones can give you 2 good games. He's likely going to give you 3 shit games right after that.
Yeah.
So can you bank on these 2 guys in net? I don't know. But, I think
Yeah.
there's still some uncertainty in my mind whether Seattle can hang in this race for the duration right till March, April when the regular season concludes. Will they still be there with a chance to make it?
Yeah, that's my biggest concern is like, they started the season or they were something like almost like fourth and fifth in the entire league. And now as the season's gone on, that you kind of notice they're kind of dropping back more and more, and now they're fighting for a wild card spot. But yeah, that's the big thing. Will it'll come down to see how they can do it in the tail end of the season here, if they can still hang in there or make it to the playoffs. But no, yeah, I think like you said last year, you had a lot of people that weren't familiar with hockey around here that immediately saw the Golden Knights go to the finals, so they immediately thought, the Kraken should go to the finals, and that's not how it goes. It's the first season, it's almost like you're just happy to be here, and then you're just playing some games. But now, yeah, the biggest surprise would be if they could make playoffs this year. That'd be great.
Yeah, it would absolutely be. Of course, that first season they get into the playoffs would be enormous for the franchise. It's great to see. They got some great. They improved their offense big time in the offseason. No question. You bring in, Burakovsky, Bjorkstrand, guys like that. Eberle's been nice for them off at Matty Beniers. It goes without saying, his first full season as in the NHL, he's been magnificent. Probably the favorite to win the Calder right now. He is the favorite, not probably.
Mm-hmm.
He is the favorite to win the Calder right now. I think Alex Wenberg's the guy I'm really happy for. This guy's been Columbus, Florida, lots of potential, lots of expectation, and never really panned out in either place. And here in Seattle, he's a great two-way center he's become. His offensive game is starting to flow now. Happy for him, Alex Wenberg in particular. He's played great.
No, yeah, there's been a lot of surprises this year just with, you have Schultz and Sprong, a couple other guys like another young kid play for the Canucks and everything as well. Jared McCann.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys have kind of, everybody. It's not just one person. It's been a lot of guys kind of pulling the weight and everything. That's got them a lot of wins. So it's been fun to watch.
Yep, no doubt. And we'll see if Seattle can, like I say, maintain their push for the playoffs for the season. So you talked about Seattle, and then you talk about the place you're from, BC, and the Vancouver Canucks. They just cannot get on any sort of rhythm. 6-2 loss. I was on the Islanders in the over, so that was a good end of the night there for me in that game. Just the same old with Vancouver. I mean, it's just they can't get on any sort of sustained win streak, and it's probably going to doom them when it comes to the playoffs. And if you can't get on any sort of win streak now, the defense is a mess. I feel for Spencer Martin, who's from down the road from me in Oakville, Ontario. I want the kid to succeed so much, and I think he's been very good for the Canucks, but he can't consistently bail out a horseshit defense in front of him. That's what they are. I mean, it's not very good right now. What the hell has happened to, as Don Cherry called him, Oliver Lossum Tossum? What the hell has all of a sudden happened to Ekman Larson for the Canucks? He's had a dismal year. He's fallen so much in terms of what he was back in Arizona. That's not been good. And with all due respect to Luke Schenn, he's the best defenseman when it seems like that's been the case. That's not good for your hockey team. Tyler Myers has been up and down. Quinn Hughes is still trying to get better at the defensive end. We know he's got the offensive instincts, but he's still trying to find it in his own end as well. They got Burrows and Stillman and Dermott, who are pretty much just depth defensemen. It's a mess back there. And unfortunately, it's hanging Spencer Martin out to dry most nights. And yes, he had bad nights, Spencer, yes. But I find he's given them more good goaltending than not. And unfortunately, can't bail out mistakes like this from the blue line. And they give up another 6th spot and they lose again last night.
No, yeah, it's been, it's not just been this year. It's, as a diehard Canucks fan, I went to the Stanley Cup Finals when they were in it in '94, and Bure was my favorite player growing up and still is. And it was always fun to watch. But it's just ever since they lost in the finals against Boston, it just seems like it's just gone downhill from there and there. And they always talk about it, so it's going to be a rebuilding year and all this. But yeah, it's been rough to watch, and just even trying to watch the games are just boring. Like it's just, and like you said, the defensive side of it,
and a sterile environment in Rogers Arena too. Not that the team's given them a whole lot to cheer for. The home record's been a disaster this year, but still, it's like there's no noise, there's no crowd like life.
No, and Vancouver fans are very wishy-washy. We win a couple games and we're going to the Stanley Cup, and then we lose a couple, and it's just we need to sell the team. And so it's very frustrating for sure. But yeah, and then I don't know if there's there's stuff going on in the dressing room. You see Miller yelling at the goalies and body language and all this other stuff. And so I don't know what's going on, but they need to figure it out, because it hasn't been working for however many years it's been. And it seems like you said about OEM, it's just, I think the Canucks just have a habit of signing these guys that are, not in their prime, like we signed Messier and we signed all these other guys that just are not what they used to be, and thinking like we're going to bring these guys in and they're going to have their second coming. And then even who else did we? Oh, Matt Sundin. And so you have all these guys, but no, it's been a frustrating time in Vancouver for sure.
Yeah, basically the motto of that, and it's truth, it's fact. Everything you said. It's basically when you're ready to make your retirement tour in the NHL, you go sign with the Vancouver Canucks. That's what you do essentially, and we're seeing that right now. Yeah, if you want to have your final little year or two in the league, that's when you go to the Vancouver Canucks, sign there for your retirement tour.
Exactly, and
we're
we'll sign
seeing
you to a huge contract that we can never get out of.
Yeah, exactly, and then just bury you against the cap in the process. Yeah,
exactly.
And then the final game last night was Dallas, LA. LA with a 3-2 win against the Stars, spoiling Dad's night. It was Dad's trip for the Dallas Stars, but the LA Kings get the win 3-2. Phoenix Copley, man, is becoming a story. This is really becoming a thing now with what he's done for the LA Kings. He has essentially become the number one goaltender. Cal Peterson was put on waivers. He's out of the picture. Jonathan Quick hasn't had a great year after a very good year last year. And all of a sudden, here's Phoenix Copley seizing opportunity, and he has essentially become the top goalie for this team right now, the number one goalie. He's 9-1 now in his 10 starts with the LA Kings. He's just been remarkable. He was very solid again last night. In fact, Dallas was outplaying LA early in that game. If not for some timely Copley saves, it could have been a loss last night for the LA Kings. He's been great, and LA's definitely you can basically trace the LA Kings getting on this little bit of a run that they've put together the last couple of weeks with Copley basically becoming the number one goalie. And he's been impressive and maybe a late bloomer after years in Washington's organization, the St. Louis organization. Finally, now he's getting an opportunity and he's making the most of it.
Exactly. And that's all you need is just an opportunity and maybe like you said, a fresh, a new change of scenery. So, and nothing kind of rallies a team more than a hot goaltender. So, once you get a hot goaltender where you have that confidence in where he's going to make that save and make these key saves and control his rebounds and all this other stuff, then you have all the confidence in the world. So no, they've been playing good hockey and they've been, he's been playing unbelievable as well.
Yeah, no question. Last night, by the way, it was an experiment, first time finally to see, and it was good to see it as well. Quentin Byfield up on the top line last night with Kopitar and Kempe. He gets an assist and a point in that game against Dallas last night. I'm happy to see that. It's about damn time. This is a guy that's a first-round pick. Why on earth they spent so much of this season putting him on the fucking fourth line, I'll never know. That's not how you develop a player. Either put him in the AHL so he gets meaningful ice time, or you put him in a top six role, especially when you know he's got offensive upside. So I never understood that.
They did send him down a little bit, didn't they? I
think they did for a period of time, but they brought him back up now for a few weeks, and it's been fourth line up until finally last night someone got a clue and said, let's put him in a top six role where we can truly see what we've got in this guy.
Exactly, because it's just the same thing. Because I think it was before when he was in the AHL, I saw a highlight and he just pretty much went end to end through the entire team and scored the goal. And like you said, it's just like you can't have talent like that sitting on the fourth line, where you're just destroying their confidence. So it's been a tough situation for him, but that's good they put him on the fourth line. But that's almost exactly like how it's going in Seattle right now with Wright. So they sent him down to the AHL there, but it's just like you see now he went to AHL. I think he scored pretty much every game. So it's just you don't want to keep those guys there for so long where you just pretty much completely destroy their confidence, and they just have no confidence in themselves at all.
Yeah. Same with Slavkovsky, right? Montreal. Good comment in our chat here from Real Deal Prime. It's true. Slavkovsky could be utilized, I think, a little bit better by them as well. And you could even say, and watch out if he gets going. He's on the fourth line now for the Kings, but he scored last night. Rasmus Kupari. If he starts scoring goals for them, maybe move him up the lineup because that guy's got some offensive upside as well for the Kings, and he got on the scoreboard last night. All right, let's turn our attention now. That was last night. Let's turn our attention to today. We have 3 games on the NHL slate. We will begin with the New Jersey Devils and the Detroit Red Wings. New Jersey -155, road favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Obviously, you've got the Devils 2-8 in their last 10 games. They've struggled. They're off that tough loss against Carolina, 5-4 in a shootout. They kept battling back in that game. We'll see if they can bounce back here against the Detroit Red Wings, who have won 3 of their last 4, who have a pretty decent, if you will, record on home ice. They've been better at home than on the road. You look at the season series between these two, 5-2 for Detroit in New Jersey early in the season. New Jersey returned the favor here in the Motor City later in October with a 6-2 victory over the Detroit Red Wings. New Jersey, look, I think it's a good thing for them that they finally started to get some offense going the last 2 games. They had the win against Pittsburgh, and then even in the loss against Carolina, a damn good defensive team. They scored 4 goals in that game against the Carolina Hurricanes, a very solid defensive team. Good sign for the New Jersey Devils. Jack Hughes has been just phenomenal. I'll see what they would do without him. I shudder to think. Jesper Bratt is starting to get his offense cranked up for the Devils. It is worth noting, though, we have 2 game-time decisions here for the Devils. Nico Hischier and Thomas Tatar, 2 members of that top line as well for the New Jersey Devils. Game-time decisions tonight for this matchup against the Detroit Red Wings. So keep an eye on that. They could be a little bit short-staffed in the top 6. That means there's going to be some shuffling. You know, Bratt is there. Hughes probably would take over the number 1 center spot from Hischier. Then maybe they move Eric Howla, Dawson Mercer, Miles Wood, guys like that up the lineup. We'll have to wait and see, but there could be some line juggling for Lindy Ruff out of necessity if both Tatar and Hischier are not able to play tonight. I lean Detroit. I'm not ready to lay a $1.55 with New Jersey here on the road in this one, especially with those questionables on the top line. They did get their offense going. I think I like the total more than the side. Maybe a small play on Detroit plus 135. I'd certainly take the plus 135 with the Red Wings before I take New Jersey. But I do like the over here. You can't argue with series history. You can't argue with Detroit going over 5 of their last 6 games. The series history, 4 straight overs head-to-head, or 3 straight overs, I should say, head-to-head between New Jersey and Detroit. So we'll have to wait and see. But I like over 6.5 and a smaller lean toward Detroit. Prop-wise, Bratt is the obvious choice, in my opinion. Hughes, you, of course, can't go wrong there. I'm waiting for Dawson Mercer to get going, and it looks like he has 3 points in the last 2 games. He's not a bad prop consideration as well for the Devils in this game tonight. As far as Detroit goes, you've got Jonathan Berggren moving up to the second line. I think he's got good offensive instincts. I really do. And he's now gotten a point in 4 of the last 5 games for the Detroit Red Wings. He also scored in that win against Pittsburgh. Jonathan Berggren is definitely a good young prospect for this Red Wings team, and he's starting to get his offensive mojo going into this matchup here. So keep that in mind. It is worth noting Kubalik had 2 goals against Buffalo. He might be worth a look, even though he's down the lineup right now for the Red Wings. And I'm going to roll the dice here on someone returning to the lineup for the Detroit Red Wings, playing his first game of the season. Now, you could say maybe he's not going to be up to speed yet, but Robbie Fabry was expected to be a pretty good piece to this team up front on the top 6. Well, he's been out of all season due to the recovering from knee surgery, which he had over the summer. He is back tonight after 10 months out and making his season debut tonight for the Detroit Red Wings. So I'm rolling the dice here with Robbie Fabry. First game back. There's lots of talent there. He's going to be put in a position. I think he's going to be on the 3rd line for Derek Lalonde tonight. Fabry with Pius Suter and Oscar Sundqvist Juices, as I like to call him, Oscar Sundqvist. So, I think it's going to be an opportunity where obviously they're not going to, put him through the paces tonight when he's been out for such a long period of time. But hey, he's plus 350 in some spots to score a goal tonight. I'll put a couple bucks down on that. And I think the motivation's there. You always want to make an impact when you're finally back on the ice. So Robbie Fabry will roll the dice on his goal scorer prop tonight. Matt, what do you think of this game here? Side total, props, anything here, New Jersey and Detroit?
I like you said, I like Detroit. They've been playing really well. Obviously, like I said, with the betting here, I can't really do anything. So, but it's just more. No, Detroit.
But you'd want to make a bet on this game. That's the thing. You're just unfortunately in a place where you can't.
Exactly. No, but I would definitely be taking, like you said, Detroit with the 135. But yeah, it looks like it. I would definitely be going with Detroit for sure.
All right, lean into that Detroit. It's just because of the price. This is not me anti-New Jersey. New Jersey could very easily win this game, and we've seen signs of life. Like they beat Pittsburgh, although Pittsburgh's struggling right now, and obviously they lost to Carolina, a very good team that was on fire. But and so they could easily win this game because Detroit's not on the level of Carolina or Pittsburgh. But it's just based on the price. I'm not ready to lay $1.55 on the road here with the New Jersey Devils, not at this time. All right, we'll continue with the next two games on the NHL slate. We got two games left, but first we'll hear from our sponsors, Gramco.
All right, whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products such as vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you, and is also available at many American retailers as well. Get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. If you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code ICEGUYS, you get 25% off of any order, and all orders on the site that are $50 and higher are shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, we're back here on the ice, guys. Tampa Bay and Minnesota now. We've got Minnesota minus 115, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Of all the games on the slate tonight, I don't have a strong feel for this. Obviously, for Minnesota, it's a little bit of a scheduling advantage for them where they've got the rest advantage. Tampa Bay was in Chicago last night, getting a 4-1 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. Minnesota off since New Year's Eve when they had a nice 5-2 victory over the St. Louis Blues. Minnesota's played well, though, for a long period of time. They've certainly been good on home ice lately, this Minnesota Wild team. In fact, if you actually go back long term, in the last 89 home games, they're 63-26. I mean, a pretty damn good home record long term for the Minnesota Wild. But yeah, and what has been the key for them has been just defensive game has been better for the most part. Other than the Dallas game where it kind of got away from them, but 5-2, good defensive effort against the Blues. 1 goal allowed in a 4-1 win against Winnipeg. 1 goal allowed, 4-1 win against Anaheim. They had that great homestand there where against Ottawa, Chicago, Detroit, Edmonton, they won all 4 games and they held all 4 teams to 2 goals or less. They had the shutout against Vancouver. I mean, just their complete team game is there right now for the Minnesota Wild. No question about that at the moment. Philip Gustafsson, by the way, in net for the Wild. We don't know who it's going to be confirmed yet for the Lightning, but you got to assume Vasilevsky. It's a slam dunk because Brian Elliott got the start last night for the Lightning against Chicago. So assume Vasilevsky tonight. By the way, it's Husso for Detroit in the other game we talked about. We think Vanacek for New Jersey, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. This one, I would only look at Minnesota. I haven't made up my mind yet. We're going to see the lineup confirmations, but I've got Minnesota circled here at minus 110, minus 115 to look at the Wild in this game. You can't argue the fact, too, that for some reason, and I know Alex has spoken on this quite a bit, Tampa Bay's had a tough time in Minnesota. Can't explain it, but Minnesota's won 5 straight hosting Tampa Bay going back to 2017. This has not been, they haven't won in Minnesota since 2011, as our guy, Real Deal Prime in the chat says. So it's a rest advantage for Minnesota. They're playing real good hockey at home. Tampa Bay on the back-to-back. Tampa Bay is only a 500 team on a back-to-back this year, by the way. 3-3 in 6 situations where they've been on a back-to-back on the road. And the last time they did a back-to-back on the road, they lost in Toronto. And then the very next night, they actually lost again in Detroit. Right before the Christmas break. So definitely would only consider the Wild here if I'm betting the side in this game at minus 115. I'm neutral on the total. Don't like it either way, over or under. What do you think here, Matt? Tampa Bay, Minnesota.
That's a tough one. This game actually, this is like the main game out of the 3 that I was kind of looking forward to seeing tonight. Tampa Bay is obviously always a good team, but like you said, Minnesota's been playing really well as well. So it's tough to say. I know they haven't won, but I'm kind of going with Tampa Bay here just because I think it's, they probably know this, that they haven't won in Minnesota since 2011. So they just, it would be nice to get a win in there. As for the total, I'm the exact same. It's so hard to say over or under. because both teams I think are averaging for goals for right around that, three goals a game. So, but with these teams, and like you said, how Minnesota's been kind of shutting teams down, it's hard to say. So, but just gut feeling, I kind of want to go with Tampa Bay here.
I'm looking at these two teams right now too, Matt. Philip Gustafson and Nets actually been very good lately for the most part. I mean, you actually go back to December the 10th, and he has given up 2 goals or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. Now, I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain this. I've still got my question marks about that, but lately he's been better in net. And Vasilevsky's been really good for Minnesota, for Tampa Bay, rather. He struggled a little bit with the Wild, but current form right now for him since December the 6th, Vasilevsky has given up he hasn't given up much basically, but he's been excellent, no question. He's given up 2 goals or less for the Lightning in 7 of his last 8 starts. So he's been very good, no question. But so is Gustafson. So I kind of lean under actually because of that. It's
That's
scary
what I think
sometimes to bet. Yeah, it's scary to lean under sometimes with Tampa Bay because we know they can score. But I think this could be just stay under this number just because of the fact you've got 2 teams defensive. Minnesota is playing very well defensively. Tampa Bay's capable of it. The goalies are in good form. I could see an under here potentially in this matchup with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Minnesota Wild. And I think actually if you look back at recent head-to-head series history, it hasn't been a slam dunk to the over. We've had some unders in there. The last 2 have gone over, but in Minnesota, we did have an under a couple times ago when they played. So I guess I'd lean that way a little bit in terms of under 6.5.
No, it'll be a close game, but yeah, it's tough. I think it'll be under, but I think, and then also he's going to kill me that I said Tampa Bay, but my buddy Gilby that I work with, he's from Minnesota, so I know he's going to be pissed with me that I picked Tampa Bay for sure.
Well, we're trying to pick, who wins the game, not, making friends here. That's what we're trying.
No,
you got to
exactly,
remember
right?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. If you have a strong conviction on one side, you stick with it, regardless of whether it pisses a friend off or not. That's the point. I like Brian Hartman. You're starting to get going for the Wild. I think he's undervalued right now. 3 points in the last 2 games. He had a 2-goal effort against St. Louis the other night. So definitely Hartman, I think, is one of my more favorite prop options here for Minnesota going into this game tonight against Tampa Bay. As far as Tampa Bay goes, Hagel's a consideration. He's been good lately. Cubano, our good friend in the chat, Cubano's Cheesecake. Look, Corey Perry, sometimes there's certain players that match up well against a particular team. Corey Perry's always played well against Minnesota for some reason. His career numbers against the Wild are off the chart. I'm looking at them right now, what he's been able to do. 41 points, 21 goals in 51 games in his career against Minnesota. So 21 goals, 41 points in 51 games against Minnesota. So Corey Perry props maybe tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. You can get obviously a good price there with him to score a goal and find the back of the net tonight. I'm just looking at it right now. Corey Perry's in the plus 500 at Caesars, to score a goal at Caesars Sportsbook. So definitely maybe a consideration there on Corey Perry. Dallas and Anaheim, final game on this Wednesday slate. Dallas minus 210, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. Back-to-back for Dallas, obviously, after playing in L.A. last night, 3-2. But again, we talk about these back-to-backs when you go from L.A. to Anaheim or vice versa. There's no air travel. You stay in the same hotel. All it really is you travel down the freeway and you go to your next game. So it's not that strenuous for the Dallas Stars. They're off that 3-2 loss. They've been very good off a loss lately. They've got a team they should be beating. As far as I'm concerned, Anaheim's 1-5 in their last 6 games. That was a dismal game against Philadelphia. Think about that. The Philadelphia Flyers, who are not world beaters by any stretch of the imagination, although they played a little bit better lately, the Philadelphia Flyers, they go in there and they dummy you 4-1, and you can't score more than 1 goal against the Flyers. I mean, that tells you all you need to know about Anaheim. Right now, they are definitely not playing some good hockey at the all season long, but they had that little 2-game win streak and it didn't last. Dallas has won 6 straight over Anaheim. For me, this is a Dallas first period puck line -0.5 at around plus 145 is what you can get with that. Plus 130. Actually, it's come down a bit, plus 130 to plus 135 on Dallas puck line first period. And I would probably also go with Dallas in terms of in regulation or puck line. I'm seeing what the regulation's about minus 125. So I'd probably go with that just for a little added security. I mean, puck line minus 1.5 is a decent option as well, but I'm going to go with a split bet here with Dallas first period minus a half, plus 135 first period puck line, and also that Dallas in regulation minus 125. Dallas team total might be worth a look as well, because Anaheim usually concedes 4 goals minimum to their opponent. 4 to Philly, 6 to Nashville, especially in the last 2 games. I mean, we'll have to see who's in net for them tonight. Gibson is not confirmed yet, but he's projected. Actually, he is confirmed now. It is John Gibson for the Anaheim Ducks. Scott Wedgwood should be in net for Dallas because it was Jake Ottinger last night, but he's capable. And it's not like Anaheim's lighting it up. I think that's been the thing that's really frustrated you about Anaheim, is that the strength of this team is clearly their ability to score goals, not defend. But that offense has dried up in recent games as well. They've scored 2 goals or less in 4 of their last 5 games. So the one thing they can hang their hat on, they're not even doing that well right now. So yeah, Dallas for me, first period, puck line, and in regulation. What do you think here, Matt? Dallas, Anaheim?
Pretty much the exact same thing. Obviously, the outright at minus 210 is nothing but, like you said, the puck line in the first period, and then even possibly the total as well, like you said. So it's kind of like you said, Anaheim's been having a tough season all year, and their offense is, for what they have with Zegras and the other guys, it's kind of dried up. So I would definitely be going with Dallas on this one for sure.
Yeah, and Dallas, by the way, this is one of those nights, too, where from a prop standpoint, obviously, what a pass by Pavelski to Jason Robertson on one of the goals they scored last night. It was very impressive to see that. Definitely consider some props for Dallas tonight. McTavish is still, I think, the one player if I were to bet someone on Anaheim, it would be him. Before this goal-scoring drought, he was starting to show, as a team, he was starting to show some signs of life offensively. But I think Dallas certainly very capable here. They haven't been great on the back-to-back. 1-4 their last 5 on the second of back-to-back games. But again, this is a totally different dynamic. You're going from LA to Anaheim. Again, you're not flying. You're not boarding an airline or an airplane. You're just traveling on a bus down the highway. It's a very manageable back-to-back for the Dallas Stars. So I think they can handle it and take care of business here. And they've been good off a loss lately as well. So we'll see if that continues tonight. All right, great stuff. That's the Wednesday card. And our guest, Matt Robinson, did a great job with it. Get ready, Matt. We got best bets in just a second to wrap up the show. So make sure you have your best bet ready to go. And we will get to that right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, our good friends at Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, courtesy of the Ice Guys. Get 20% off of any purchase and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICE Guys. That's promo code ICE Guys, all one word, ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 400 million balls that you can help preserve with manscaped.com using the promo code ICE Guys. You get the Performance Package 4.0. It is a game changer. The Lawnmower 4.0. It takes care of this, among other things. It'll keep you trim as can be. The Lawnmower 4.0, waterproof. Same thing with the Weed Whacker, which takes care of your ear hair, nose hair. I mean, nose hair in particular. You know, I'm getting up there in age, and nose hair is becoming definitely more of an issue. This will take care of it. It feels like someone's tickling the inside of your nostrils sometimes. It pisses the hell out of me. It bothers me. I need to take care of that shit. This will take care of it for you. The Weed Whacker makes part of the package that you get with your Manscaped purchase and the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. You also get the ball toner. You also get the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good and looking good and feeling good down in the nether regions. This package is really going to make you feel good and look good and look better, slim, trim. That's what it's all about. And manscaped.com can help you out with that. So make sure you take advantage of this. Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code IceGuys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the promo code IceGuys. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we are back here on the Ice Guys, and we are ready to wrap the show up. It is best bets for this Wednesday night NHL slate. Matt, we'll try to have you on the show again anytime you're able to do it later on in the season, but here's your chance. Stepping up to the plate, pressure's on. First best bet of your Ice Guys tenure. Here you go. What do you like?
I'm going to say probably the best bet for tonight would be the puck line on Dallas Anaheim for Dallas there, just because it's Dallas. They've been having a great year, in Anaheim, just how bad they've been struggling. So that's what I would kind of go with for my best bet for first time here. So like you said, no pressure or anything.
Yeah, no pressure at all. But Dallas, and you're going to go with the puck line on Dallas, which is -1.5 at +125. So nice price with that. Dallas -1.5 +125 against Anaheim for Matt Robinson with his best bet. For his first best bet on the Ice Guys show. And my best bet, Dallas was in consideration, but I'm going to go with New Jersey and Detroit over the total. New Jersey, Detroit over 6.5, -105. We've seen these teams offensively come to life lately. Each of the last 3 head-to-head meetings have gone over. Let's see if it happens again tonight. I think it will. New Jersey, Detroit over 6.5 for my best bet for this Wednesday NHL card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. We got Canada, USA, World Junior semis tonight. Matt will be watching that. I will be as well. So good night of hockey coming up. Looking forward to it. Matt, we thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much. This was a blast.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll get you back on later in the season. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For our special guest, Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.